everybody, it's been a while since I've done a video, and even longer since I've talked about YGO Sevens or Cardfight Vanguard IF, and the reason for that is, well, I've just kind of gotten behind. So I have spent the better part of this week getting caught up on these two shows, and after watching several episodes back to back, I've noticed a few things. First and foremost, these two shows are very similar in what they're trying to do. Both are trying to take long-running card game franchises and kind of take them in a different direction. Both using a lot of comedy, different sorts of character dynamics, and presenting their games in a different fashion. However, one of these is a fun, entertaining take on an old franchise. The other is Cardfight Vanguard IF. And, well, I want to talk about why that is. I want to talk about how two shows using such similar ideas are seeing very different results. This is not necessarily just to criticize Cardfight Vanguard, but more of a lesson in the difference between concept and execution. Because one of these has good execution. Guess which one doesn't? So yeah, let's just get right into it. This isn't necessarily just a hate on Cardfight Vanguard IF, but, you know, there's going to be some harsh opinions here and there. So first and foremost, let us talk about the first thing you will notice when watching any anime besides the titties, and that is the animation. YGO Sevens features a very new take on Yu-Gi-Oh's animation. When many people saw the new character designs, they were kind of let down. They thought they looked more sort of generic and kiddie. When we saw the show, though, we learned why the more simplistic, out there designs were needed. YGO Sevens features a very fast-paced, slick, phonetic animation style. It's obviously not at the level of something like, say, Keep Your Hands Off Ezukan, any number of Trigger productions, or even the new Pokemon anime. But it always feels like it has a lot of energy. It's always moving at a quick pace. The characters are constantly spewing out lines, constantly doing jokes, going in lots of different directions, and a lot of opportunities are taken to put jokes in where you don't expect them. Background gags and duels that weirdly fit the scene. Little things like just overusing toilet paper or funny walks or weird reactions are used very effectively. Nothing is overdone, nothing is underutilized. A lot of care is put into using the animation to tell you what you need to know about these characters and about what they are as people, as well as just the insanity of the situations they are in. Cardfight Vanguard's animation, well, it's been a little problematic for a while now. Cardfight Vanguard's animation is stiff. A lot of characters just kind of standing around talking, which to some extent is very anime, but what makes anime that gets away with this work is that it tries to figure out ways to utilize that, like Sevens does. Cardfight Vanguard, though, has spent a lot of time just feeling like you could count the frames, and it's unfortunately no different here. All the gags feel slow and sort of statuesque and sort of disjointed. Everything kind of just moves at this really wonky, slow pace, and a lot of jokes that would work with much more surreal, energy-filled animation kind of just fail because they're not really doing anything that different. You could get away with this in the other parts of V-Series because they had more drama to them. They had more characters, so therefore there was more interesting things for you to follow. But when entire scenes just result on one joke but have to go on for 5 or 6 minutes, well, it's just kind of painful. The only episode of Cardfight Vanguard IF I actually found funny was the Asuka episode, and that's because it did utilize some weird animation and some strange concepts, and actually did stuff with it. Not a lot, but enough to get me through the episode. The only two characters who seem to have any real consistent amount of energy to their movement are Emmy and Shuckle. Side note, we refer to Shuka as Shuckle on this channel. This is a Shuckle household, damn it. They have some actual quick little gags, but they're very underutilized, and they're not really ever the focus of the show, so they can't move it forward. Which, speaking of Emmy and Shuka, is a nice little segue into the next thing that separates Yu-Gi-Oh! And Cardfight Vanguard, the characters. which sucks because it wasn't that long ago. Cardfight Vanguard easily had, as a whole, the more interesting characters. All your characters, from your Aichis to your Misakis to your Shins to your Eskas, had really well-developed personalities. Now, yes, comedy doesn't necessarily have to come from super complex origins, but you laughed with these characters because you cared about them. You liked them as people, and it established who they are. This was a problem in the last Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens decided to take that and make it its main strength. These 4 kids are super fucking likable. They have super well-defined personalities, they have very interesting arcs of their own going on, and it always goes back to kind of the comedy. Yuga is this funny little snarky Bugs Bunny type. Rook is this overly energetic, full of himself, arrogant little dunce. Roman is this sort of calm, intelligent, wondering why she's hanging out with these idiots type. And the 4th one, whose name I still can't remember, is also just a ball and always the perfect complement to everyone's insanity. They bounce off each other and they work well together. The first episode alone made sure to tell you who everyone is, and each episode builds upon it and builds upon it and builds upon it. Cardfight Vanguard, on the other hand, has taken a very serious nosedive in the character department. The only character who feels fleshed out in IF is Ibuki, whose character is that he's just sort of been forced in this dumb situation and doesn't want to be there. That works because sometimes that is genuinely funny, but that's more on to the actor. It's not reflected in the animation, and it's not really reflected in how he interacts with anyone else. I will say the show is at its best when it's Ibuki and Suiko just kind of arguing and acting like weird roommates. That's weirdly kind of funny, and it kind of makes me feel like I'd rather just get that. Like, come up with some weird situation where they're on like a road trip or forced to live in an apartment together or something. They're funny and they work well off each other, but that's it. Because then you have the other big problem, Emmy and Shuckle. Emmy, throughout the entirety of Cardfight Vanguard, has never been given a real character. And if this show wanted to make you care about her, they should have done that immediately, like they did with Yuga and crew. But no! Instead, Emmy just kind of pops in and out with her annoying little ginger sidekick who, mind you, 6 or 7 episodes in, still has no established backstory, no established personality, and no established character besides she probably wants to make out with Emmy. Which is a weird thing a couple characters in this show seem to want to do. It's kind of creepy. So yeah, that's kind of a big problem, is I don't really want to follow anyone in their weekly doses of adventures. And I should want to do that because that then moves us into what some argue is always the most important part of the story, your plot. Both of these shows are very slow moving, and in the plot department, Cardfight Vanguard has given you a lot of plot. You've got a big spooky castle. You have a magic teleporting book. You have 2 people stuck in a weird alternate timeline, I think, maybe. I don't know. This show makes no fucking sense. You have Emmy and Shuckle trying to save Aichi. You have Ren also trying to save Aichi, I guess. I don't know. You've got all this crap going on. And it doesn't mean a goddamn thing. It doesn't. It really fucking doesn't because, well, none of it comes together because, well, there's no characters you want to follow. And more importantly, I don't really see a point to any of this. You have a show that already had an uphill battle of having to justify its existence, and it just doesn't even try. It just puts everyone on these goofy one-off 20-minute adventures and then just kind of throws plot at you without really developing any of it. A lot of anime do this thing where they don't have plots, they have plot points, and they just kind of slowly go through them without it really bringing them together, and that's kind of what we have here. None of it really flows and forms a story. Now let's look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens for a minute. Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens doesn't really have a lot of plot going on at the moment. I mean, there's stuff we know. We know Goha is supposed to be this, like, totalitarian dictatorship that's ruling everyone by tricking them into thinking they're fun, goofy, and friendly. We got that, but that doesn't really do anything. It has nothing to do with the plot as of 9 episodes in, which have all mostly just been one-offs. Yuga and crew are trying to get rush duels out there. They're going on goofy adventures where we meet all these fun, goofy, colorful characters, and the plot, I think, is coming in like 2 weeks as of this recording. Now, obviously, we have to take into account that COVID kind of screwed both these shows over, as they are supposed to be much further in their plots and in their shows by this time of this recording. But Yu-Gi-Oh!, despite not really doing much with its plot, makes me care about what's going on. And it makes me want to know what's going to happen next week. Why? Because, like I keep saying, it's fun. There's energy to it. And more importantly, each episode plot takes full advantage of what it can. Rather it's the group going on a kooky dinosaur hunt with some weird fossil guys who have lost their love of dinosaurs in favor of profit. Rather it's saving a ramen shop where the ramen owner seems to be losing his goddamn mind. Or where it's whatever the plot will take it. I feel like every plot point is utilized to its advantage to give me a fulfilling 25 minutes of television, not just the promise that if I sit through episode after episode, eventually I'll get somewhere. I feel like with each episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm getting a satisfying 25 minutes of television, where Cardfight Vanguard is just kind of plodding along, hoping you'll just keep going because you have a creepy, lolly, magical girl fetish. Bushiroad has issues, doesn't it? So yeah, those will maybe be the big 3 elements that apply to most shows, but let's talk about the final thing, and that is the card game action. This is really where Cardfight Vanguard, I think, loses fucking hard. Instead of being about a card game, it's about the magical girls summoning the units as stands for very bad fight scenes. I can't stress how bad these are. Like, oh, Jesus. There's very little movement. There's very little fight choreography. It's just slash boom, card we want to promote so you'll buy more product, and that's it. Every fight is the same thing, and it's boring. The thing about a card game anime is that it's supposed to show off the card game. Like, that's why it can get away with cheaper animation sometimes, because it's supposed to want to make me care about the card game, the thing it's trying to sell. Make me want to buy that. But I can't imagine anyone watching this and being like, oh, I have to play this card game. It seems so much fun. When the show itself doesn't think you care about the card game and doesn't want to show it off, why would it expect you to play it? Whereas with Yu-Gi-Oh!, we've taken things in a different direction. The rush duels use different rules. The rush duels utilize the mechanics differently. But each episode and each duel shows that off in a way that makes it seem fun. It makes the characters seem intelligent. It makes their strategies feel real. I want to rush duel, damn it! 'Cause, well, the show just makes it look so goddamn fun. And that's kind of the point. Make it look fun. And Cardfight Vanguard IF, simply put, isn't fun. It isn't entertaining. It isn't enjoyable. It's existing. It's just kind of there. And, well, we're kind of just hoping to get through it. And the fact that they've already confirmed Chrono's voice actor is coming back for whatever the next thing they're doing is, I think sort of shows that they know this was a mistake and we just gotta get through it. But it doesn't have to be. Maybe this could have worked if, it tried doing what Yu-Gi-Oh! Did, and I think more franchises that try to do more installments should take that risk of going in a more comedic direction or going in a different set of characters or that sort of thing like Yu-Gi-Oh! Is doing. Because as of right now, I think people do care about Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. I don't know a lot of people who really care about Cardfight Vanguard IF. But again, this isn't really meant to shit on anything. Okay, I did shit on Cardfight Vanguard a lot. But if you like IF, that's totally fine. If it works for you, I don't understand how, but more power to you. It just doesn't for me, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens kind of fucking does. It's really fun. More fun than it has any right to be. But give me your thoughts on both shows below. Do you think they're similar? How are they different? Any of that good stuff. Just please no creepy Emmy and Shuckle or Roman stuff, because if you watch Cardfight Vanguard on YouTube, you know some people, they're getting some very interesting reactions from this show. And anyways, as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next time where we can talk a bit more positively about card game anime.